you obviously have the fan base, you got the media, you've got, which, I'm going to throw you into both buckets to a certain extent, of course. And then you've got administration, you got people that are the real movers and shakers at the university. Now, you see all this crazy conference realignment talk all over the place, and it centers around the Pac-12 right now because they're just trying to get a media rights deal. And then it could impact the Big 12. And then the Big 10 is obviously in a position of strength involving everybody except Notre Dame, because the Big 10 wants Notre Dame. But obviously, there are other schools wanting to get into the Big 10. So is the Notre Dame contingent when it comes to realignment just kind of folding its arms and saying, we're not part of this. We are exactly where we want to be? Or do we see some wheels spinning and some possibilities down the road of Notre Dame relenting?
Here's my thought. I remember, I think it was even last summer, Notre Dame to the Big Ten. You did an article, a show on it, Notre Dame to the Big Ten now. And we were talking about that in the conference. And that was when USC made their move over to all of that. And it was like, okay, what's money, Mark? Some of it comes down to money. You're looking at a media deal where freaking Rutgers is looking at $100 million a year to be Rutgers just being in the Big Ten. And then Notre Dame's over here with NBC making a pittance. All right. Some of it comes down to you got to make sure if you're Notre Dame financially, whatever deal you have, if you're independent, that you don't fall so far behind in that money race that there's no way you could compete with infrastructure, support, and all that. So I was looking at that back then about the Big Ten. And does that make sense? So you have that money, almost every week would be a rivalry game for Notre Dame in the Big Ten. Then you got USC, Michigan State, Penn State, Purdue. Go to Chicago, play Northwestern at Wrigley. You could do all of it. Come down the highway here and go to Illinois. We could do all of it, right? But then they officially embraced the new playoff format. Okay, so that changes things a little bit. Notre Dame's no longer caught in that. You better go 12-0 or you're not getting in. Now they got a little more margin without that end of the conference game and all that hurts Notre Dame, or if they need it, that alleviates some pressure. 11-1 Notre Dame should feel pretty comfortable in a 12-team dynamic. I would even say 10-2 most years. Notre Dame should feel good in a top 12 dynamic. So that expansion eliminated some of the access worries of you got to be perfect or you're out. So that took care of that. What I'm waiting to see is I want to see these numbers in this new format with expanded access for us. Even if we can't get a bye, but you could be in it. As long as Notre Dame's numbers are close enough, they feel they could compete. They're going to stay Indy as long as they can. That's where I think this comes down to. So whatever media deal comes next, I know they were talking NBC blending something with the Big Ten and do those games. I don't know. But eliminating the needing to go undefeated to be in part is a big deal. The only other shoe would be those numbers. If Notre Dame's getting half the money in a year of these other teams, is that viable for Notre Dame long term? That's where I think that decision comes in. And it ain't going to be the ACC. The Big Ten is the most natural fit for a million reasons. If Notre Dame felt that obligation, the Big Ten makes sense in a million ways, even though Fielding Yost never wanted us. Okay? I'm still not over that. I'll never forgive him. He didn't want us.
If the Notre Dame Fighting Irish do join the Big Ten, there's going to have to be some kind of exorcism, some kind of ceremony that's pronounced at that point. I just don't see. I know that the contract's in play with the ACC, but I just don't see as a official contractual member of a conference Notre Dame football messing around with the likes of Duke and Georgia Tech and Virginia every week. It's just doesn't seem like it's enough weight for them. And of course, the ACC is running into its own issues. And even if they're able to hang on to a grant of rights that runs to 2036, we're only 12 to 13 years away from them having to show that they somehow, some way have a viable league. when I look at the NBC deal, John, the way it strikes me is that looks like another nudge to Notre Dame to join a conference in this way. Part of Notre Dame's independence during this television era has been that they own a network all to themselves. Everybody else is running around playing games, overlapping each other on ESPN, ESPN2, ABC, Fox, and all these other FS1 and all over the place. NBC's all Notre Dame. Now we've got a situation where they got to share Saturdays with the Big Ten. And it's not just about sharing one broadcast window with the Big Ten and the Big Ten showing up for 1 3 to 4 hour window, but it's, the way the networks have to treat their programming. So if the Big Ten is on NBC at 7:30 at night, well, during their earlier game, they're going to show, during the Notre Dame game, hey, they're going to be promoting constantly the Big Ten game, we got Penn State and Wisconsin coming up tonight, Or if it's flipped, there is going to be promotion about the Big Ten constantly overlapping Notre Dame football, as opposed to when Notre Dame was just the only baby that they had to care for.
Yeah, but you know what, Mark? I don't think they care for that baby very well. Notre Dame fans are down on NBC anyways. I feel like NBC's looking at the big money picture that you're discussing. And I feel like Notre Dame isn't the priority it used to be. And maybe it's for the reason you're talking about. I'll give you a couple examples of that. One would be one actual home game a year. You can't even watch on NBC. You got to have the Peacock app. So if you're a Notre Dame fan, lawyer, you pay all this money to have your TV deal. If it doesn't include that dumb app
to watch the UNLV game,
you can't even watch an actual Notre Dame. Every game's not on TV anymore. They make you do that, and then the stream's lagging, the game's going on, and the wheels spinning. Okay, Mickey Mouse, that's a joke. To do that to Notre Dame football, it screams not a big deal. That's the only way that comes off. Not a big deal to us. Go on this crappy app that's delayed, and the wheels spinning and all this stuff. That's one thing I don't like. Here's number two. I liked when the Notre Dame booth had gravitas. When they did that NBC intro and came in that stadium, and you got Mike Tirico, one of the best to do this, respected by everybody across sports, and you got Mike Tirico talking about this game, it seems big. It feels big. It's Mike Tirico. That's a big name. Now, it's a joke. The booth is a joke. It has no balls, no gravitas. They gave Collinsworth's kid is in the booth now. Whatever. You went to Notre Dame. I get it. But there's no balls. There's no gravitas. There's nothing that tells you, nothing gives you the feel something big's happening here tonight. So a lot of Notre Dame fans are feeling like we're not that big of a deal to them anymore anyways. This isn't Lou Holtz recruiting Randy Moss saying we're the only ones on TV. Come here. Like we're way past Randy Moss having interest in Notre Dame saying, I want to be on TV every week. Like, we're by that. Everybody's on TV every week. That's not what it used to be. So a lot of Notre Dame fans are souring on the NBC experience, and I am as well. And I think we're open to whatever financial situation is going to make Notre Dame still competitive. Hopefully that means being independent with a shot at the 12-teamer and making enough money from whatever TV deal that you could play with the Big Ten. That's kind of my scenario of where we're at.
I know academics are important, culture is important, the other sports are important, but for me, I don't care about those things. I just care about the football, and Notre Dame is obviously the fit for the Big Ten. Interesting stuff.
It is.
John Kennedy, always Irish. Yeah, John?
Academics, too. It all lines up with the Big Ten. It would be perfect. And the rivalries are built in. It would be exciting. And with USC coming over, you have almost everything you would need as a Notre Dame fan. I mean, almost every game on that slate would be some sort of rivalry. Like, I'm not saying that wouldn't be amazing, but I prefer independence if we can make it work.
It's one of those things that you can't explain to the person that doesn't get it, and to the people that do get it, you don't need to explain. Notre Dame just fits in the Big Ten. It just fits in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
John Kennedy, always Irish. Get on over there. It's right here on YouTube. Check out John's work. It's always a fun time with John. And John was pretty calm today, was pretty calm in light of all the Tyler Buckner, Sam Hartman
You know what it
discussion.
was, man? I was sweating during the morning show, yelling at the people calling me. I think I burned myself out this morning. I was yelling. It was 9:15 and I'm sweating, yelling at these people in my chat. Never a dull moment. I love it.
John, appreciate you being here as always.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Hey, let's revisit whenever this resolves itself, and we'll see if we like how things ended up.
For sure.
Beautiful. Have a good afternoon, Mark.